The length of a rectangle is 6 inches longer than it is wide. If the area is 112 square inches, what are the dimensions of the rectangle? Okay, well, let's draw a rectangle. There we go, little rectangle. Okay, and it says the length. So we have the width, the length. Okay, and then I'm going to write the sentences. The length L is equals. Remember, is equals. You know, if Johnny is 18 years old, then his age equals 18. 6 inches longer added to its width. So that's the first equation. Remember, we have two letters, we need two equations. So there's my first equation. See how I grabbed that? Right straight from the sentence. Again, if we have two letters, you know we're going to need two equations. Length is equals 6 longer, 6 added to the width. Okay, what's the second one? Area is 112. Now, what's the area of a rectangle? Remember that? Area of a rectangle equals length times width. Remember that? Like think about here. What if I have a little rectangle right here? Look right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares. And it's 4 this way, 4 squares tall, right? And it's 2 squares wide. See, 4 times 2 is 8. See how the area, the space inside of a rectangle, the number of squares inside of a rectangle is one side times the other. It makes sense, right? Because there's 4 rows of 2 squares each. 4 times 2 is 8. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. Okay, so anyway, so what does that mean? Well, it tells me the area is 112. So this is 112. Length times width is 112. So I've got two formulas there, don't I? Two formulas with two letters. Okay, so what do we do when we have two formulas, two letters? I'm going to plug in. Right here. Plug L into second equation. So I'm going to grab this and plug it in right there. So this will become 6 plus W times W equals 112. Let me get this out of the way. Do you see what happened there? So when you have two equations with two letters, you plug one equation into the other. So L equals 6 plus W. That means L is the same as 6 plus W, meaning wherever you see L, you can replace it with 6 plus W. So right here, I replaced L with 6 plus W. So L, which is now 6 plus W, times W equals 112. Okay, what do we do with that? Well, I'm gonna distribute this. Boom, whenever we have parentheses, we distribute from the right side or left side, doesn't matter. 6W plus W squared is 112. Right, whenever we have parentheses, we distribute through those parentheses, whether the thing is on the right or the left side of the parentheses, doesn't matter. We just distribute through the parentheses. Okay, now what? Well, when we have a W squared with an equal sign, step number 1, get a 0 on one side. So I'm going to subtract 112 from both sides. Boom, boom. And this is 0. W squared plus 6W minus 112. I just reordered them, you know, from highest power to lowest like that. We get there. So step 1, get a 0 on one side. Now, what is step number 2? Step number 2 is going to be to factor with the 2 parentheses, you know. And so I think you know all about that. And this is going to be multiply, add, multiply, right? with the two parentheses. This is going to be W times W. Now, what multiplies to be 112? I have no idea. So what I'm going to do is let my calculator do the work. I'm going to take 112 and go, I don't know, we divide by 2. What do I get? 56. So that means 2 times 56 is 112. That's probably not it. How about if we divide by like 3? I don't think it works, does it? Divide by 3. No, it comes out some decimal. 37.3. So forget that. And then 112 divided by 4, I think it's 28, isn't it? 80. Let's see. 4. Yeah. So that means 4 times 28 is 112. I don't think that's it either. How about if I take 112 and divide by like 5 is not going to work. 6 doesn't work. 7 doesn't work. They're all just decimals. 8, it'd be 14. That's looking better. 8 times 14 is 112. That's probably it right there. How do I know? Well, do you see if I put 8 and 14, they can add to be 6. This is the pair they can add to equal 16. Not add, no, I mean with this, I remember sign in the middle goes on the bigger. Plus 14 minus 8, that is 6. You check it on your calculator. Remember, sign in the middle. Sign in the middle goes to the bigger number. So that's plus sign in the middle goes right there to the 14, which is a bigger number. Plus 14 minus 8 is plus 6. That's right. And they multiply to be negative 112 because negative times positive is negative. We already know 8 times 14 is, whoops, I wrote it wrong over here. 112, right? 8 times 14 is 112. See how I did that? All right, now we're not done. That's step 2. Come on in here with step 3. Each part equals 0 and solve. So I'm going to go, okay, W minus 8 is 0 or W plus 14 is 0. Each part is 0 and solve. So add 8 is a little wall here. Add 8 to both. So W is 8 or over here, oops, subtract 14. Boom, boom. And W is minus 14. So we got 2 possible answers now. So we did all that work, and we've got 2 possible answers for the width. The width could be 8, or the width could be negative 14. That's baloney, isn't it? Right? You ever measured a rectangle? Yeah, how big was that rectangle? It was negative 14. It was the weirdest thing. It was a negative. No, that can't be. That's not. See, math doesn't really know about the real world. Math is just numbers. And so math is just telling us, hey, this number works. It doesn't know that in the real world, you cannot have widths of rectangles that are negative. We have to keep one foot in reality. And when math goes beyond reality, we just cross out that answer. So the width is 8. Let's come back up here. The width is 8. Pop it in right there. The width is 8, right? Width is 8. Now, how are we going to get the length? Just plug in. I'm going to grab that first equation. Remember the one that said length is right here? You can use, by the way, any equation you want. It doesn't matter at all. That one looks easiest to me. Length is 6 plus width. Plug in the width is 8. Length is 6 plus 8, which is 14. So the length is 14. So we got it. And now notice how those fit the words, don't they? The length is 6 longer than the width. Yeah, if you take this length, that's 6 longer than the width. Add 6 to the width. You'll get that one. And the area is 112, meaning this times this is 112. You can check it on your calculator. It is 112. 8 times 14 is 112, which is the area of a rectangle. It all worked out perfectly. So let me recap real quick. So what did we do? We wrote the 2 equations. Length is equals 6 longer than the width. 6 plus width. Length is 6 plus width. And then the area formula is length times width, which is 112. Then I plug the first equation into the second. In for L right there, put in 6 plus W. Distribute through the parentheses like we always do. Get a W squared equation, which always means get a 0 on one side. So subtracted 112 from both sides. Put these in order from highest power to lowest. Then we had to factor, multiply, add, multiply. That was a little tricky. We found that 8, and we took the 112 over, which is a big number. And we said, what multiplies to be 112? We had no idea, so I divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And anytime I got a pair that worked, I wrote them out here. And we're looking, and 8 and 14 was our pair. How did I know? Because they had to also add to be 6. No way 4 and 28 or 2 and 56 could have added to be 6. It's 8 and 14. So wrote down 8 and 14, sign in the middle goes to the bigger. And then you set each one separately equal to 0, right? Because if two things multiply to be 0, either one could be 0 to make that happen. Solve that positive 8, negative 14. Forget about the negative. You can't have a negative width. The width is 8. So we knew the width was 8. And then we plugged that 8 in right here to get the length as 14. There we go.